All right. Welcome to the Rocket Launcher Podcast. This is episode 89. I am your host, Supreme King, and join with me as always is my co-host, and his name is.
It's your guy Omazis.
How's it going, man? How you doing today?
Oh, I'm actually a little messed up in the head right now. You
Messed up
threw
in the
me off
head.
earlier, but so did y'all for the people listening? Did y'all know that Sonic the Hedgehog wasn't his real name? I'm still his
Oh,
name is
you.
Ogilvy. His name is Ogilvy Maurice Hedgehog, not Sonic. Like I knew Tails was Miles Prowler, but I didn't realize his Ogilvy.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
now it makes it like Ogilvy, Miles, Amy. Like the only one that is like Knuckles is actually Knuckles.
yeah. I don't even know if that's true. I think Knuckles had a name too.
Oh, don't tell me that.
They all, because that was like, now once you start getting to like Shadow and stuff,
Yeah.
like I think those are their real names, because at that point it wasn't really like the original stuff. It's just like, here's all these add-on people, right? It got to the point where out there they had a whole alligator, and then there was what's the girl name with the hammer? What's her Amy and
Amy.
stuff.
Yep.
Like those are all their real names, I think. But the original three, that was the stuff, and I'm like finding this out relatively soon too. But I'm pretty sure, obviously, for a lot of people, it's still just Sonic the Hedgehog, and nobody
Ogilvy.
has to look too deep into it. But yeah, it reminds me of Urkel, like Urkel
Yeah.
and Stefan kind of thing, because he was like the voice actor. So I don't know if that was if that was like related, but anyways, shout out to the game on the screen. This is Giga Bash. This is your footage of Giga Bash. This is a game that I think I've mentioned before because I know it has connections to Godzilla, or at least Godzilla and a few of his monster enemies and friends are all in the game. I think it's like 4 DLC packs, or 4 people within the DLC pack. And then there was like a whole nother DLC pack, which I think is it Ultraman? I think it's
Yep.
Ultraman.
It was Ultraman.
Yeah. And so you're playing this game. How do you like this game, man? How do you feel about it?
It was fun. Like it's not something that you're gonna be like probably like I got 180 hours in, like
Yeah.
back to back. It is something that's like I got about an hour to spare. Let me play something. It's goofy there. So I used Thunder Tross, which was like supposed to be like a Megazord sort of
Yeah.
thing. And it's just as you can see, you get like a small little setting. You could use the environment as weapons. So smashing them into stuff, or straight up like picking up like a trailer and it becomes like a bat or something like that. And then you got like ultimate moves. You get like a second form where you become like larger. To try and win it. It's just a nice little combat game with lovably janky controls. So it seems
Mm-hmm.
intentional where it's like everything feels like kind of slow moving because you are huge and everything. So it's like janky ish. Where if you're like an extreme like combo fighter game player, you're probably gonna get upset with it. But when you take it as what it is and everything, it's like, no, this is fun.
Yeah, it's a
So
little,
I
it's
really enjoyed it.
arcadey. It's arcadey.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
it's what it should be. I remember because we hype up Epic Games a lot. This was one of the games that was given away on the PC side under Epic Games at one point. I
Yep.
don't know, was that during the holiday season or was it afterwards? I don't know.
I think
Um,
it was right before
right
holidays.
before it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it actually, because I remember I was mentioning before how it was one of the games that I was initially going to get during Black Friday, but ultimately chose not to. And then I think it was during the holiday season. Like they gave it away when they were doing like 16 or 17 games in a month kind of thing back to back. I think this was one of them. If I'm not mistaken, it's the base game, and then you still needed to pay for the DLC, but the DLC was like $5 per DLC or something like that, or $10, I think. Which is something I do plan on getting once I get around to this game. But yeah, is this the Epic Game version that you're playing?
No, actually, so when I had PlayStation Plus Extra, it dropped on the extra list. So I
Oh,
decided to
okay.
try it out. Um, I could have pulled it up for the PC version from 2 Epic as well, but it was like right there, so I was like, oh, let me just try it real quick. So
Okay. And it's relatively quick download. It's not like 100 gigs
yeah,
and nothing crazy.
nah, this thing was tiny.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out to the game. New game on the channel we haven't really shown before. Something I'm definitely gonna get into. Yeah, but I guess maybe I don't have the footage, but I did want to just mention my progress with some of the games I am playing. Maybe I can ask you about some of the games that you playing, because it's gonna be a short show, and we don't have too much to go off of. But there is some news that is relevant to the show and this week. But one of the games that I'm playing that I'm going to start getting some footage for, like just regular footage, not so much too many boss fights, but some of the boss fights too. But I'm playing Bloodborne technically. And I say technically because I'm still kind of casual with it right now, because there's just my week is so busy right now. And last week too, but I do have some technical difficulties with it, which I think might be unique to me because of my internet situation. But I think what it is when I'm playing the game and you play it online, like a lot of Souls players know about this. When you play online, you're connected to the network, which allows you to a few things. You can get raided, right? Getting raided means somebody hops in your game and they just immediately start attacking you.
Yeah.
And then there's like the ghostly type creatures or ghostly type players that basically they entered into an area where you were in, and they were like the game kind of gives you a hint as to what's going on, because they just like either attacking people or dying or jumping around or something. So it gives you the clue to say, hey, when I turn this corner, something's about to happen. It's about to go down. I'm about to get ambushed, And so when I turn the online mode on, now, granted, this is the PS Plus version, or the version that was originally in the PS Plus collection for anybody who got the PlayStation 5, like in the first couple years or whatever. Like that particular version, when I go online, terrible. It's terrible issues. It's very stuttery. There's moments where the game does not load all the way in, so you could be walking basically and there's just like no ground underneath. And then what's really crazy about it is like I couldn't really save the footage when that happened either, and the PlayStation button was not working. So it was like, what was going on? It was like only when I was online. Like if I went back to the game and I hopped offline, a lot of these issues didn't come up. And it doesn't have anything to do with like get good as a Souls player at all. It's like just these technical issues. And I wonder if it's exclusive to just being on the PS Plus version on the PS5. It's still a PS4 game that's locked at 30 FPS. But I don't know if this particular version is the issue. Like if I went online somewhere and just bought the disc version, maybe that one might be different. I don't know, but I think the internet plays a part into that, because when you're playing online, your world is technically the server's world in a way, so that you can see all the ghost people and possibly get raided. I never got raided, but there was a couple moments where the game hard crashed, and one moment where it hard crashed to where it actually just shut off the PS5 altogether. Like typically when it hard crashes, it goes to the dashboard. You get that little code that says this is your error code and do you want to send it and all of that. But there was a couple times where it shut off the whole machine. And I looked it up, and it's like people were saying like if that happens a bunch of times, it'll basically fry your system or whatever. You have to just get a new system. I was like, yo, like
I don't like that.
over Bloodborne, I don't know what's happening, but needless to say, I will try to play the game. If I'm going to keep getting those issues, I'm most likely going to only play that. I'm like still kind of early in the game where I didn't really miss too much because like with a Souls game, you gotta start over a bunch of times, from certain checkpoints and stuff. And this is a From Software one, right? So it's like the real deal. So you can lose a lot of progress in the beginning. So I'm only a few hours into it. I think if it happens on offline mode, I'm probably going to just switch this over to the PS4. But it hasn't happened in offline mode yet. When I booted the system back up, there was a moment where I was just like, you know what, I'm going to just not touch Bloodborne at all. And I'm going to move to something else. And I was playing Crash Force About Time. I'm not sure if there's any like online to that because it's still a solo game. But the system was still connected to the internet. And I was still able to play Crash 4 without any issues. So the crashing and stuff might be an isolated issue with that version of Bloodborne, which sucks, but at the same time it's actually a good thing if it's isolated there and not everywhere. If it's everywhere, then the system is like crappy and I have to look into probably getting a replacement. But yeah, so that's the issues that I'm having with Bloodborne. Outside of that, when it works, and I'm able to play the game. There was one particular boss that I ran into who was just kicking the tar out of me, and I have that footage. I only faced him once, but I got his health down to like half, and then he beat me. But it was still during the point where I think I was still in the online play. So in the footage, you might still see some stuttering. That's going to come up maybe next week or the week after. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that as far as Bloodborne. I'm not giving up on it because it's a mainline, big game. But yeah, the other game I was playing was Persona 4. But before I get to that, what game are you playing right now? Anything like you might want to talk about?
Suns. So I'm playing some Marvel Midnight Suns. I am really enjoying it. For people that kind of skipped it over, this is, I think, one of those hidden gems because they've suffered from the fallout of Avengers.
Right.
It's good. It's different in terms of like, it's more like a deck builder sort of type of game. So it's like it's turn-based, but you'll get like a hand of cards that you can like play, and that determines like what attacks people can do for your turn, and you got to plan out your moves accordingly. So there's some strategy involved, but it's a really fun game. The storyline is easy to get into. Nice little shout out to different characters. They have the whole like the relationship stuff where you're trying to build friendship, like Persona, with different people. They get stronger as you build friendship. In order to get characters stronger, you got to use them. You definitely want to stick to a variety of using people because characters can get injured. So in battle, if they fall too many times, they can just be hurt, and then like you can't use them for a few missions and everything. So you got to get used to using other people. But it's overall, I'm really enjoying it.
That's good. That's what's up. So yeah, I guess I can mention the other game that I am enjoying that I'm actually having a little bit more of a positive experience with is Persona 4 Golden. So for context, I beat Persona 5 Royal, and then I'm going to go back and play it again periodically. Like I think what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to play a month within the month, if that makes sense for anybody who understands.
Okay.
And then like it's funny enough that the game starts off in April for Persona 5, and so I kind of want to keep it where it's at. And so if anybody who knows, that means that without really getting into any real spoilers at all, I should be done with the game by February to March, somewhere up in there, right? So that's how I'm going to approach it for my second playthrough. Just take my time with it because I'm playing a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, Persona 4, I'm playing that on the Steam Deck. And it's actually it's very very enjoyable on that because I believe this was still originally like a Vita game, if I'm not mistaken, and so it works well on that machine. It kind of feels like Pokemon in a way, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
Maybe because of how it looks, like it feels like a DS Pokemon ish game in a way, but then it's still it has those moments where like the cutscenes and stuff it goes back into like where the anime looks a little bit more up to date, just because
Okay.
anime just has its way of looking, right? But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I do see some similarities to Persona 5, but Persona 4 has its own, I want to say, like set of rules and its own
Okay.
style within its metaverse, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm appreciating it. I'm very appreciating it. Dope game. Dope game. I think it's going to not take as long as Royal, but it's obviously going to still take a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe it might be one of those games that takes me most of the summer because I think I'm gonna try to take my time with it. I did look up some of the things that you're supposed to do to make sure you get the true ending the first time around.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna try to do that all in one playthrough. Um, but yeah, dope game, dope game. Um, I I guess like a side note real quick. I have the GameStop's $5 off thing for every month, basically, because it's part of their membership.
Uh-huh.
Which I don't know the official term, but it's basically just rewards where you get $5 off once a month, just because you're a member, right? This month, and I think a few months going forward, leading up to Black Myth Wukong, which is in August. I actually don't know what I would buy from April to August, basically. Um, and I got to figure it out because I don't want to just lose the $5 thing. But I don't really have nothing I want to buy this year. I don't know if you are
I
you the
collect.
same way.
No, yeah, there's nothing. I already bought kind of the main game that I wanted this year because it
Mm-hmm.
just went on sale on Steam, and I just said sure, and I was Cassette Beast. Uh, but looking at everything else, there isn't really much I want. Like I even looked at, I already started a Black Friday list, and
Yeah.
it's mainly Tekken 8, Mortal Kombat 1, and I decided to throw Street Fighter 6 on there as well. So the main one on there is Tekken 8. That's the main one I want, but there isn't
Mm-hmm.
really anything else that I want this year.
But do you have like that membership, and are you like gonna let some of those months lapse or
I
what?
do. I always do. Like I
You
don't
let them
use it
lapse?
every month because if there's not like I so I look at it like this. They're saying you can take $5 off, but if there's nothing that I want, I'd
Yeah.
still be wasting money on something that I don't need.
I understand that. You know what's really
Versus,
crazy? Like that's how they get me, and it's not just them. It's like it goes triple when it comes to food, and you already know what I'm talking about. I
yeah,
don't even got to go into detail, but that's how they get me. That's just like because I'm thinking about like I'm in my head. I'm like, well, I got like 20 days. I got to get something. That's
yeah.
my thought process. Like I gotta
If
get something.
so, I
Um,
remember specifically, for example, going shopping, and it was
yeah.
something that was like, basically, if you buy one of them, it costs four like dollars, or you can get two for seven.
Mm-hmm.
And I only needed and I only wanted one. So I bought one. And when I get up to the counter, the lady's like, well, you can get two for seven. And I was like, but I only need one. And she
Right.
was like so thrown off. But what I'm saying is, like, you sure you don't want to go and just go grab the second one because you're missing out on this deal? And in my head, I'm like, well, because I only need one, I'm spending $4. Where if I just grab it for the sale, I've now lost $3 on something I don't want.
Right.
So yeah, I there's a lot of months where I let it lapse. I usually just think about I have to remember that I get $5 off on the months where I go to buy something.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also a Funko collectible, so like What I should probably start doing is just space those out for when I'm purchasing them and just use the $5 on that instead of buying them in lump sums.
Yeah, because for me, my goal initially was to save money on Nintendo games. But even then, it's like they're not gonna have a game out every month, even when they seem like they were. And I still believe like the last half of this year is probably gonna favor Nintendo a lot once they start announcing stuff like their new system, if they're gonna do it this year, or another Mario or something. Probably Metroid Prime 4, which a lot of people are probably looking forward to, including myself. Um, those are the games that I was looking forward to getting discounts on. But it's like it kind of ran out because before it was like there was the Mario, what was the game called? Super Mario
Mario Rabbit.
Wonder. No, Wonder. It was Wonder, and then he was like
Paper?
RPG, Super Mario RPG,
Oh,
Super Mario Wonder,
okay.
which led into the Peach game, which is most recent right now. That I did use for March. It was like after that, like right now in April, I really don't know. If I was to go outside of Nintendo, there are technically a couple games out there that I do want. Persona 3 Reloaded is definitely one of them, but I kind of want to wait on that one because I don't think it's like I think they might have a full version on disc, maybe. Which leads me into Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, which is supposed to come out in June, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that was going to be the one that has everything on disc, right? Or cartridge if you get it on Switch. Um, but those are like more full price games too. Whereas like if it's not Nintendo, I don't want to buy something full price.
Yeah.
Um, but there might be some times where I was like, you know what, let me just get an extra controller, or let me get a T-shirt, let me get something like that. I might just do something like that, or look at some of my wish lists and say, okay, what's on here that's already on sale? Let me just get an extra $5 off. I might just
There you
do
go.
something like that. I don't have to go for the big releases. And it really wouldn't kill me if I got something used. I know that's what they really want me to do, but I was refraining from the used stuff for a while. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. I think we could probably transition into one of your topics because I think it's gonna go with what is kind of on screen right now. This is the beginning of the demo for Stellar Blade, right?
Cool.
I don't think we have too much to talk about Stellar Blade that we didn't already talk about before. At this point, it's like for everybody go play the demo. Go play the demo. This game's come out at the end of the month. But yeah, this is the first 15 minutes. I showed, I think, the boss fight last week. So this is kind of in reverse only because this footage, I believe, is 15 minutes, and I think I needed a 30-minute cut last week, and so that's why I put that one there. But yeah, just play the game. It's a demo. Just play the game. But I think it goes into the next topic because I just watched the trailer before we went on air. Star Wars Outlaws trailer just dropped, which is an Ubisoft game. A lot of people jumped on this game with negativity. I think the correlation that I'm getting there is because there is a crowd there that is judging the main character based on her looks. So I kind of want to
Yep.
talk about it because at least with Stellar Blade, it was like that, but it was the opposite. It was like Stellar Blade, they like her looks, right? They like it a little too much.
Yeah.
But
So there's
then
as we talked about, there's an argument about
yeah,
Eastern game design versus Western, where
hmm
there's been an argument that the Western designs, in an attempt to make things more realistic and less eye candy and fan service, that the female characters are starting to look ugly. Is basically what people are saying,
yeah,
or they'll have like a real like a attractive voice actress and they don't model the character correctly after the voice actress because they're like, why don't you just make them look like them? Instead, you made them ugly. Or the original game, they look great, and in the sequel, they don't look as good. That's been
Hmm.
kind of the argument where, of course, there are a lot of Eastern games, everybody's supposed to be hot, like overly hot.
I just want to mention real quick. What's funny is it reminds me of the deaf girl from Spider-Man 2, where the internet looks like they just jumped on her. Where they were
Yes.
saying like the first game she was cute, the second game she ugly. I'm like,
Yep.
bro, what are we doing? What's
Now,
going on here?
one of the arguments for Star Wars Outlaw, because that's going to be overanalyzed now for like every female character, right? Like,
Yeah.
uh, it seems like after Laura Croft, they just decided no one will be hot. But they are saying that the main character for the Star Wars Outlaws game is also ugly. Now, me, I don't think the character's that ugly. I think it's the hair. I think the hairstyle, which they're trying
Hmm.
to do that 80s
It look a
hairstyle.
little goofy. It does.
Yeah.
It looked like
That
she about to say, "Where can I speak to your manager?" A little bit.
yeah. It looks I don't know, it looked bad. Where I don't of course she don't look as good as the voice actress.
Okay.
However, again, I think with a different hairstyle, uh it's not gonna be that bad. Like of course they're not like overly hot like they're trying to do with like Stellar Blade stuff,
Hmm.
but I don't think it's as bad as people are saying for those that's the argument. Now there is also an argument about Ubisoft. Remember, Ubisoft said you should get used to not owning your games, and they're being egregious with the pre-order stuff. So I finally found it from their website. There's 3 editions. The normal one is $70, where you get a base game and you get whatever pre-order bonus if you pre-order it.
Okay.
The gold edition, which costs $110, and that one you get the base game, the pre-order, 3 days early access, and a season pass that's gonna come with 2 DLC missions.
You know one
Two
thing.
characters.
It it cringes me every time I always hear this. It's like you get to play the game 2 or 3 days early.
Yeah,
It's kind of one of those things where it's like,
you're testing it because it's broke.
yeah, that, and then like, well, what if the person gotta work and they
Oh
can't get
yeah,
out of it?
I've actually been in that exact situation where
Yeah.
I pre-ordered it at the time when I used to pre-order. I pre-ordered the game not for the early access. I was just pre-ordering it to have a copy, and it was like on a Tuesday, and they're like, "Come on, get it," and I'm like, "I can't make it out there till Friday, big dog." Like, so
Yeah.
it was just like it was like I didn't even get to capitalize on the 3 day early because I had to pick it up on the day of release.
Yeah, I've been in multiple situations too where I did pre-order the game and then my copy is coming in the mail
Yeah,
after somebody who didn't pre-order just went and picked it up day of.
yep.
You know, like
Or just when
I've
you'll get it, and I don't have time to play. Sorry,
yeah,
like I got things to do.
I
So
can't blame them too much on not having time to play though, but I do think I could blame them on it not coming in the mail early
oh yeah,
when when other people get theirs, because that happened to me with Tears of the Kingdom. It also happened to me with Hogwarts Legacy, even though I haven't played Hogwarts Legacy yet. It's just the game did not come to me in time.
yeah.
Yeah, and then it would be in the store. It would be like other people got it. And I'm like, bro, like
I
I
feel
paid
like
for this.
depending on when you pre-order it, if you're supposed to be able to have 3 days early access, it should be dropped off 3 days early, like the early shipment. And then if you pre-ordered, then your order should have went out in the mail for it to arrive on the day of release. Like I think that's crazy that it's like we get it in the store and then we'll mail it out. Oh, but yeah, so there's also an ultimate edition for $130. And that comes with base game pre-order bonus, 3 days early access, that season pass with the 2 DLC, a digital art book, and 2 like cosmetic bundles.
Okay, that
So
sound
everybody
it.
says Ubisoft's gonna Ubisoft. So there's a movement to like make sure no one pre-orders the game.
Yeah, so for context, I guess this particular trailer also had like it had a situation where it was mainly disliked. It was dislike bombed. Even though it's I guess not more than 24 hours old, really.
Yeah.
It's still dislike bombed like crazy.
Now on a
Um,
positive note, I will say the game takes place in between episode 5 and 6. I don't know if that's positive for people, but not to just talk only about the controversy.
Right.
And you play as I think a bounty hunter, or not like the bounty collector people like Han Solo. So like it's all first person or not first person, it's third person shooter. You're not all force heavy. It might be a nice compliment with like the few games about like Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order where you are force heavy, and then this
Mm-hmm.
one you're not. And I would like to see if they potentially run into each other. Because Cal, I believe, takes place before Episode 4, and then this takes place in between 5 and 6. So I wonder if they, or maybe Cal takes place right after Episode 4. I don't know, but maybe they like you get an older Cal or something eventually.
Yeah, as weird as it might seem, there might be like some quote unquote copyright issue or something. Maybe I don't know. Even though they own the franchise, I don't, because you know how maybe a side note, like how Power Rangers had a situation with their Hasbro figures where the Ninja Rangers couldn't be called the Ninja Rangers because they didn't have the movie license. They
Oh
only
yeah,
had the, so they had to call it the monster instead of movie, and then it was
yeah.
able to release it. Like I wonder if that might be some sort of conflict too. Like
Oh,
I
oh, you
don't
know
know.
what? Maybe never mind. They probably would run into each other. I just realized Survivor's made by EA, not Ubisoft.
Mm.
So yeah, never mind. They wouldn't run into it. There would be a conflict.
Yeah, like it's like only the fan made versions is where you would see that type of stuff, unfortunately. Um but yeah, the trailer I mean the trailer didn't really look that good. It just kind of looked like to me it looked like it would have been a Star Wars film. Just nobody had a lightsaber, basically. Um but it's not a film, it's still a game. I do agree with some of the comments. This might have to be a wait and see at the very least, because you do want to own the game if you are paying for it. Now, if you just get it in Game Pass, I don't know how much complaining you gonna want to do. But if you are planning to just buy it, then yes, you do want to own it. I definitely agree with some comments that I was seeing on that official trailer release. With that being said, is this a game that you do want to play?
As long as it all works and everything, yes.
Right.
Uh, but it does look interesting. I mean, I'm a Star Wars fan. I like the lore. Uh, I'll be down to try it. Hopefully, it's not overly bloated with like because there's multiple worlds to visit, and hopefully, it's not just like empty space.
Mm-hmm.
That you're actually trying to do stuff in these worlds. But yeah, I'll be down to play it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind playing it as well. It's to me, it's gonna be a another. It's gonna be like what was that game called? Battlefield 2. You remember that? Was it
Yep,
Battlefield 2?
yep,
The girl who had like the floating robot that was like somehow her backpack too, or whatever.
yeah.
Like
I like it.
I think it might be something like that. I think it might fit that type of description. That game was kind of dope. I had only like maybe one issue if I remember correctly. But yeah, it might be something like that if anything. But yeah, we could probably move forward from the Star Wars talk. I do want to mention real quick. I guess the halfway point. We could hit the halfway point a lot early. We might actually go past. We might not actually go past the hour. But that's fine. That's fine. But shout out to the halfway point. That's usually when I just highlight Epic Games. And the reason I highlight Epic Games is because they give away free games every week, usually. And a lot of times it's 2 games instead of 1. But this time I think it's 1 game, and then the next week is going to be 2 games. But this was a game that they've shown before. That is Ghost Runner. Or not shown before, but gave away before. Ghost Runner will be available from now until April 18th. And that's more of a PC type game. I've tried the demo a couple times, but I haven't played the full game. Have you played this yet?
I have not, but I plan to. It looks fun.
You own it too, right? You own it on
Yep.
Epic, and I think it was given away on PS Plus, if I'm not mistaken. Um, for anybody out there, I don't know if it's on Game Pass. It probably is. Everything's on Game Pass, but it was a PS Plus game at one point. I do remember that, and then also it was given away under Epic at one point, but it's here again. And remember, you do not need a credit card under your profile. You just need to create a profile and use any of your old gamer tags or create a new gamer tag. And then once you claim all these games and you open up your profile on your new PC, once you finally get one, it's all here. Even if it's on a handheld like the ROG Ally. So yeah, that's the game that they're giving away right now. The game that they're going to give away from the 18th to the 25th is actually to the 25th. There's actually two games here. One of them is called The Big Con, CON, and then Town of Salem 2. I'm not too familiar with Town of Salem. I guess like the first game maybe. But at least the second one is here. I don't know if you need to play the first one, but Town of Salem 2 and then The Big Con is the games they're going to give away next week. Are you familiar with any of these? Those two?
I am not.
Yeah. I don't think they're as big as Ghost Runner. Ghost Runner does have a little bit of a fan base where a lot of PC guys like to play this type of game. So get it right now while it's available. As of this recording, you should have plenty of time to get it, about six days at least. Once this goes up, but yeah, those are the free games. The update inside of the stores, as far as like retail, it hasn't been completely cleaned out yet. From what I've seen, they are still adding games in both categories. Both categories. What I mean, in all three systems. That's what I meant to say. So I think I did mention this last week. Suicide Squads was one of them that I've seen, but in some of the other stores, I've seen them like tear down the sets a little bit just to move it around. I'm talking about Walmart here. But they still added a lot of the games there. So they haven't gotten rid of all the media yet. Funny enough, too, DVDs and stuff is still in the stores. Not everybody bought everything. So, not telling you to be like hesitant. You still want to buy whatever you want to buy right now while it lasts. But a lot of the stuff is still there, though. They didn't just wipe it all out. So 4 months in, we're still seeing some physical media in some of these places. But yeah, I think I want to mention this in this segment, the free games and sales and stuff, because it's really just an announcement. But you remember The Last Ronin, which is supposed to be the last Ninja Turtle, basically.
Yeah.
And it's a more present or future timeline, I guess, darker timeline. So we know that they want to work on a game for this.
Yeah.
Well, it's more breaking news, which either came out today or yesterday, that they also are looking to do a live action movie based on The Last Ronin. And so I'm not sure if they're trying to line that up where they both come out around the same time. And I'm hoping that it's not really a movie tie-in game the way they've been in previous generations where they just put out this trash game because it has to come out with the movie. But
I don't think they're doing movie tie-in games anymore.
Yeah, I think that was a thing in the past because a lot of people just gave up on it. They weren't really, playing it. But like this, they're going to do what they call a live action movie. And I think what they mean by live action is going to be similar to what they did in the 90s. Because those movies was really good. I think they might mean that they're going to put somebody in a cosplay outfit or something, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe they might be moving away from CGI. But I don't know. Does CGI is in live action, right? I don't know.
You can mix the two. Like, have some CGI where I think if the majority of the movie is all real world, then there's a CGI person,
It would
right?
look a
Like
little
the
goofy.
live action Scooby Doo movies are considered live action, even though Scooby is CGI. Everybody else is not. You think they're gonna bring Vanilla Ice back to do another track?
How are they gonna bring him back? He might. Well, he might make a cameo if they really want to do that.
You got to
But
do
I
a
don't.
slow version of Go Ninja called No Ninja.
I don't know if he. I don't know if he gonna come out with a new track though. He might do a cameo. You might get a cameo out of him. Any actors or something that's still alive, maybe you might get that. But the whole point of the last running, though, from my understanding, it's got to be dark. Everybody else is gone, so that would probably include Vanilla Ice. I don't know.
He gone too.
He gone too, man. It's the last of the dying breed here, so we gotta stick with just him. But I'm here for it. I do want to. I will see the film when it comes out. I will play the game when it comes out. Yeah, I'm a fan of the Ninja Turtles, absolutely. But yeah, I think the next topic, I actually have a topic that's probably going to be similar to yours, but we can start with yours because you mentioned or you wanted to talk about the Friday the 13th Resurrected being canceled. You
Yeah.
want to talk about it?
So if you remember, Friday the 13th game got canceled or like shut down last year. It
Yeah.
was delisted, but if you bought the game, you could still play it, and they were going to continue like letting it support until the end of this year, and then you won't be able to like access it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Which to me sucks because if you bought it, you should always be able to access it. But
Yeah.
regardless, there was Friday the 13th Resurrected, which was fan made, and they were trying to just make it to where it's like a mod where you can keep servers alive and everything, and it was all completely free. Well, just like the game got a cease and desist, the fan made mod people got also a cease and desist because there's a licensing disagreement with the original owner of Friday the 13th.
Mm.
That's the issue. So when they first made the game, I don't think there wasn't a licensing agreement, I guess, that lasted with the owner, so that's why it got shut down. Now they shut down the fans in the same way like Pokemon stuff does, like Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
So Resurrected, they just got cut off beforehand. They couldn't even finish it. They're just like, it just sucks. It was a fan made project, no profit being made. We just wanted to keep the game going, but I guess we can't. So yeah, that's no more.
Yeah, that sucks. I think I could piggyback off of it because the topic that I had was similar. It was more for an official game though. And what I'm talking about is Dead Space 2, the
Okay.
remake. Apparently the news came out that they want to cancel that idea in the project, and I
Uh huh.
don't think they got started on it, but they mentioned, which I think is interesting, and maybe we can have a discussion about it. But they mentioned that it was because of the lack of sales for Dead Space, I believe.
The
Which
game
I
did
think,
well.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was under the impression that that was still one of the better games of the year to start the year and everything. So I wouldn't understand why they would say like, well, this is not gonna work, basically. But I'm not a developer with infinite wisdom or whatever, so I don't know what's happening. But yeah, they brought that report out recently. They're saying they don't want to do Dead Space 2 remake, which according to the fans, the second game was good. It wasn't as good as the first, but it was just a little bit more action oriented. And then I believe the third game you could play as co-op if you wanted to. But the
Yeah.
second game, I guess they don't want to remake it. They don't want to
Uh
remake it, I guess. But for everybody out there, you can still play the original on modern hardware, all three, and PC. I believe they're available The original version is available on Xbox, but then it's also available on PC as well. Um, I have the remake of the first one, and then I also have, I believe, the second and third one through PC. I don't think I got it on Xbox, or maybe I did. I don't know. I don't know anymore. There's so many games, but yeah, they canceled it. But for the lack of sales is what kind of made me scratch my head a bit, because that to me sounds like it's the lack of them making a certain amount of profit. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Oh, of
the
course.
greed is there. It's another one of those examples where I think they're gonna put this franchise on ice, basically, because of greed in a way. What do you think? You think it's that?
It's
How do you
always
feel?
greed.
It's
It's
always
definitely
greed.
greed. Yeah. It's because the upper people who I'm blaming for everything always didn't
Hmm.
get the amount of money that they want. So they're just like, yeah, we're not funding the next one. Shut it down.
Yeah. From the community, the third game was the one where there was just like, okay, it's just flat out not good. But there was like a number of people who did enjoy the second game, and so they're looking to not do it, unfortunately. Um,
Yeah, apparently when it came out, it was like the EA hasn't reported the sales, but it was the best selling new game of January 2023 when it came out.
yeah, then I don't know. Maybe that's like a Power World kind of thing, where it's like it exploded initially, but it didn't. Like once you
That also
start,
could be it if they got the sales, but they didn't make those type of sales. So then, if you don't make that, it's automatically considered failed.
yeah, that's so crazy to me. Cause
That's
they'll
why.
do that and just like leave.
That's why
Like,
they need to get out of gaming. We need all of those upper heads out because that's all they look at. They go, we project this number, or we see a game got this number, so do that regardless of the franchise. Or we didn't get that number, shut it down. Let's work on something else. Like, of course, basically what they're probably saying is, uh, Madden has Ultimate Team, so we have a way to get more money. Where Dead Space doesn't, so why would we do a Dead Space 2? Just focus on Madden. Like, why would you spend the money on there? Spend it on Madden. Like,
yeah,
that's their logic. Or why spend the money at all? They're just gonna put money into Madden anyway, so we're fine.
the ironic part about this is they wanted to focus on Battlefield. Apparently, is what they were saying.
There you go.
Um, which kind of reminds me, is like, well, Battlefield is the game, the microtransactions is going to be the real focus, and it was, I guess, no campaign or whatever for Battlefield 2044. But it looks like EA wants to probably focus more on what's going to give them the battle passes and all of that. Um, so yeah, Dead Space fans, I feel bad for you, but Battlefield fans, it sounds like you're gonna get another Battlefield, I guess. So more power to you.
Hopefully they fix it, but
This is EA we talking about, you know?
yeah, the craziest thing was like we're gonna drop it without a single player. I always thought that was what Battlefield did extra well, but dang. Then
Yeah,
again, my favorite Battlefield game is Battlefield Hardline, and that was the one that focused so heavy on single player that everyone hated the co-op part. And to me, that's
yeah.
the best one because I play single player, but it's fine.
All right. Well, moving right along. I think I covered all of my topics. I have one more for you. And
Yeah,
we're talking about, break this down for me because
yeah.
I don't know
All
this
right.
acronym. Go
So
ahead.
BAFTA, a British Academy of Film and Television Arts. That's basically like their little award show, right? Like how
Okay.
we have Grammys, Oscars. Well, BAFTA also celebrates video games, and it was like a voted by like I want to say 4,000 people, which 4,000
Okay.
gamers ain't a lot, but they broke down the top 20 iconic video game characters of all time.
Oh,
Okay, so what I want to do, because it's hard to, like, unless you sit down and really write your own list of top 20. I just want your opinion if you feel like this character just deserves to be mentioned, whether you personally feel it's the top 20 or not. If you feel like, oh, okay, I can see why, like one of those. Yeah.
yeah, but we talking a full 20 people. Like
Oh, we're gonna go
they,
fast. You ready?
yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand.
So great of all time. All right. So number 20, Nathan Drake.
Okay, I think he should be on the list for
Yeah.
sure. I don't know, like maybe he don't have to be. Like, is it any particular order that they said, or
Well,
do
yeah.
they
So
are they
this is the
ranking?
order. Like, this is number 20, then 1918. So you don't have to necessarily agree with their, I guess, ranking until we get to the final five. But for the rest, it's just, do you like, you can see why they're on the list.
Absolutely though. I do.
Okay.
I can see why Nathan Drake
Well,
would be
yeah.
on the list of 20 people. Yeah.
Yeah. So number 19, Ellie from The Last of Us.
No,
Not Ellie?
not top 20. No,
Okay.
no. It's a
Uh,
great game. If we talking the first game before they started extorting it,
that's the
but
one they mentioned. Says Ellie Williams, The Last of Us.
but no, it would have to be Joel.
Okay.
Real Last of Us fans, it would have to be Joel.
All right. Then we got at 18, Kazuma from Yakuza.
So I'm unfamiliar.
Yeah.
Yakuza's not really my game, but if it's just one of the characters that's like always been there,
Yeah,
then
it said he's been in like 10 of the games.
yeah, he should probably be a part of it. Sure, for
All
sure.
right, here's where it gets a little weird. All right, ready
Okay,
for 17?
go ahead.
Asterion from Baldur's Gate 3. That's the white haired guy that everybody likes.
So no, because that
No,
game's brand new. You can't
that's
just
where I
call it.
felt
Yeah,
of all time, though. And then he's on there. And I was like, I wouldn't say that. Uh,
nah. I
16,
had to get that one. I know.
16, Cloud from Final Fantasy 7.
I can see him being in the top 20.
Okay.
16 might be a cool spot for him too, because I can't give him top 10. But I can
Okay.
see him being in the top. Because Final Fantasy is like, as a franchise, is like he is definitely one of the top guys over there.
Yeah, I agree. 15, Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah. I can put
All right.
Crash in there.
14, okay.
Hmm.
Okay. 14, Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid.
I can put him in the top 20 as well. I can
Yeah.
do that.
All right, number 13, Steve from Minecraft. That's the main character.
Is it really about him though? Ain't there still more about like you make your own, and then
Yeah.
after you make your own, you kind of just step into the world and just do stuff? I don't know if I could just give it to Steve, because I also remember when I think that's the one they put in Super Smash Brothers too, right?
Yes.
It
Yep.
felt slightly underwhelming when.
But also, according to this description,
Hmm.
Minecraft is the best-selling video game of all time as of 2024.
Yeah, I could see that part. I just don't think it's because of Steve.
I I agree there.
I
I
don't know
agree.
because it's like when you start saying these characters are like most iconic, like
Yeah.
how is he iconic? What did he do in his
True.
game
You're right.
that
You're
made
right.
him iconic? What was
You're
his?
right.
So yeah, I don't know
All
about
right.
that.
Number 12, Pikachu.
Yeah, I could put Pikachu.
All
Absolutely,
right.
I can do
Number
that.
11, Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh man. Um yeah, I would have put old boy from Red Dead 1, but
Okay.
yeah,
But it's
I
fair.
could see that. I
I
could see
see it
that.
there. Number
Yeah.
10, Shadowheart from Baldur's Gate 3. That's the black-haired chick with the elf.
Okay, now we're going too far. You can't
Okay.
put two from the same franchise, and it like not from games where you create your own person. Like
Yep.
I feel like
Now,
those should be set
I want you
aside.
to understand two of these entries went to 2 characters from Baldur's Gate, and Joel, I'm just gonna let you know now, is not on the list.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that don't
All
make
right.
sense. But
Number
okay.
9, Kratos.
Yeah, and I actually will put Kratos higher. But yeah, Kratos should be on the list for sure.
All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Number 8, Master Chief.
I will put him on the list too. Now, I think it might be a little controversial to some people. Maybe you might have a console war moment here. What makes Master Chief one ahead of Kratos? You know, somebody might ask, well, how is that? Like, how is he literally one step ahead of Kratos? I don't know.
That's what people voted, I guess.
I
Maybe
guess.
because you know what I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Halo has a TV series, so more people will recognize who Master Chief is over Kratos. For those who be like, "Oh yeah, I seen him on the show my kid watches."
I see that I would have to disagree with because Kratos goes back. Well, they both are. I think Halo is older by like a few years, but I don't know if people will recognize the Master Chief for the TV show. It might be before like the original 3 Xbox games.
Okay.
I just think when we think Kratos, he's for me a little bit more iconic in his role and everything himself. How he interacts with everything.
Okay.
I would just say, but yeah, I think both deserve to be on the list for sure. For sure.
All right. Number 7, Link from Legend of Zelda.
Yes.
You know. Number 6, Pac-Man.
Yeah. I guess Pac-Man can be on there. Pac-Man actually, I guess he probably reaches out to multiple generations, but he would be somebody that I would have had like in that bottom part of the 20.
Okay.
For me, but I could see how yes, Pac-Man is like quite literally the guy, like the guy, basically.
All right. You ready for the top 5?
All right, let's see.
Number 5, Sackboy from Little Big Planet.
No, absolutely not. There's no way he's ahead of all the other guys, especially Kratos and Master Chief. No.
So
if he was so iconic, how come his game ain't selling?
One of the most customizable characters on the list. Sackboy made his video game debut in 2008 as the star of Sony's Little Big Planet to instant critical acclaim.
No.
He's since starred in all 6 Little Big Planet mainline games, as well as making an appearance in numerous other franchises.
Okay.
All right, so he's number 5.
He should be, if that's the case, he should be down there like number 19, number 20.
I didn't know there was 6 Little Big Planet games. That's crazy. Number 4.
Okay.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I can agree with him being that high. You haven't mentioned Mario yet, so I can imagine Sonic and Mario being very high on the list. I can see that.
Number 3, Agent 47 from Hitman.
Wow. I could see him being iconic. I don't see how he would be that high though.
Yeah.
I could see him being like maybe almost in the top 10, but not quite top 10.
He would have been like 15 for me.
Yeah. Somewhere up in there.
Number 2, Mario.
Yeah.
Who most people thought should have been number 1.
Yeah, I'm like, if he's number 2 and you mentioned Link and stuff, I'm curious as to see who's number 1. But for absolutely, yes.
Number 1, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider.
Oh, wow. I don't see Lara Croft being higher than Mario and Sonic. But Lara Croft can be in this. Like you can boot out one of these Minecraft people for Lara Croft. Put Lara Croft there.
Lara Croft should have been number 5 or 4. Not Little Big Planet, the Sackboy. But I want you to understand. So let's think about who did make this list, right? Joel from The Last of Us, Ryu or Ken from Street Fighter.
Yeah, one of them could have absolutely been there before whatever was going on
Yep.
in the earlier the earlier
Jin
list.
or his grandpa from Haiichi from Tekken. They didn't make the list either.
Yeah, and see, like you had two people from
Baldur's
Baldur's
Gate
Gate, and it's like,
that came out last year. And also, keep in mind, this is the third Baldur's Gate game, and both of these first appeared in Baldur's Gate 3. So they are brand new characters to be
right?
considered.
You can't
Like,
even really digest them and have a
nope.
story and a history with them yet. Like what?
Ratchet and Clank didn't make the list. Jack and Daxter didn't make the list.
Yeah,
Game and Watch
Ratchet
didn't
and
make
Clank
the
would
list.
deserve to be in there somewhere towards the end of it. But
Uh-huh.
I probably wouldn't. It might sound controversial. I wouldn't do it for Jack and Daxter though,
Oh no, not
because
top
they
20.
just stopped. Yeah, they
Yeah.
kind of stopped and everything.
But like I think about it, it's like Sly Cooper didn't make the list.
All right.
Like some of these games that they did end early. There's a lot that, but like Ryu didn't make the list, right? Like how many Hadouken? Like everybody knows that
Yeah, yeah.
phrase.
Street Fighter person, a Mortal Kombat person,
Yeah,
Sub Zero, or the other one.
Sub Zero. Yep, or Scorpion. Get over here. How many people say get over? So I think it's not necessary for me like Jack or Sly Cooper being top 20 of all time. It's they're not on the list, but Steve. How many people know his name is Steve or Sackboy? Sackboy's the only
Sackboy
thing.
don't need to be there at
Here's like,
all.
the only
Like,
thing that's fun about Sackboy when they say the customizable thing is you make him look like a different character. So it's like
yeah,
I'm not Sackboy, I'm Kratos. Like that's the whole point of Sackboy is to be someone else. Uh,
yeah. I don't know what's
there's so
happening
many.
there.
Samus didn't make the list. Like Metroid.
Yeah, I don't know. So Samus, I am a big Samus fan. I had to pause for a second and think about it. I was like, I don't know if it's top though.
No.
Like Samus would be more like you get the niche within Nintendo, but
Okay.
I don't know if I would give you like the top guy. You're like Mick Carter, basically.
What about Claptrap?
No,
You know what
I
Claptrap
don't think he would be top 20. Like,
Nah.
nah, but
Oh, but what about speaking of? There was no Resident Evil characters on here.
yeah, that's interesting too. Like if you had mentioned at least Leon, I think
Yeah.
it would have came down to Leon for sure. I would be like yes, and I think the main one they would have to use was his version from Resident Evil 4 and the remake, basically.
Yeah. You know who else didn't make the list?
Who?
What's his name? Dante from Devil May Cry. Is that his name?
Yeah, and that's weird too, because some of those characters you would absolutely put before like Little Big Planet or like
And
some.
I like Baldur's Gate 3. It's just I wouldn't call them characters like the most iconic of all time. Like they were in one game. Like they're in one game, and not everyone has even played the game. So I don't know. I just feel like if I go out, I would find more people who would know who Dante is over knowing who Asterion is.
Yeah, but they probably accept. I don't want to make no controversy. I ain't gonna say they accept the bribe or nothing. No, I don't know.
Yeah, but I also the way Baldur's Gate creators have been like talking and everything. I don't think they would bribe for that stuff. They didn't even mention this thing. It was the fact that it was like 4,000 votes, so it's probably just people who've only played current games,
Yeah,
right? And because it's based off of film and television, it's people who play more cinematics as well. So, yeah, I thought it was weird.
because if it was me, I would also throw in there Dragon Ball Z. I would throw in there Goku.
Yeah.
Technically,
Goku.
technically,
Yeah.
I think it could count because there's been so many Dragon Ball Z games that I think Goku would count. I think
Uh-huh.
because I don't know, some of them other thing. Well, maybe is the rule that it has to be from a game first though. then maybe it wouldn't count.
The rule, because I was gonna say if we are gonna tie in Goku, you could also tie in Batman from the Arkham series specifically.
Yeah, because there's a lot of games, superhero games that stem from that particular one.
It also
But
seems like some of the things that they mentioned for being influential is like how many other things they've been in. Where it's like, Lara Croft, and she was the star of the Tomb Raider, but then also has been in several remasters that are television or movies or in these other games as well. Like one of the things they mentioned about Kratos is that he was into like graphic novels or something. So it seems like their
hmm
definition for influential is how well people recognize the character, but also what else have they been in.
yeah, but I feel like I would throw up a picture of Little Big Planet in real life and not barely get anything.
Yeah.
I don't think that's iconic at all. Like so, I don't know that list seems a little faulty to me.
Yep, and they also said between the two Baldur's Gate 3 people is their fan favorites because of the 2023 thing. They were popularly talked about, but again, it's throwing around that word iconic.
Yeah, but
Ellie
I
over Joel.
guess yeah. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Oh, I said Ellie over Joel.
Yeah, that see once you say that, that's like you've already discredited your whole thing. Like, cause how could she be iconic? Like, what would have made her iconic? Like this most recent part 2, because like before they did part 2, like Joel has some years as being Last of Us Part 1. Like he had years. Like that game
Yeah,
originally
there
came
too,
out,
right?
huh?
Ellie was there too, right?
Yeah, she was there as a kid, but she wasn't iconic in the first game though. Like what was iconic about the first game was like the dad daughter type of vibe, but at the same time it was like it was still more because you were playing Joel. You played
Yeah,
Joel the whole time and you only played with her for like a split second. Like it was
fair,
your story as Joel dealing
fair.
with the grief of like his parenthood, losing his daughter and stuff because
Yeah.
she got shot in the outbreak. Yeah,
But yeah,
so
that was their list.
well they got their list looking a little faulty. It's looking a little faulty. It's looking a little suspect, you know.
Yeah.
Especially you putting some Baldur's Gate 3 people on there. Like, come on, bro. It's looking a little suspect. There's no way you could have determined that at this point in time. Maybe in like I don't know, alternate universe. I don't know. But I think we I think we're done. Anything else you want to say?
uh Ogilvy, bro. Like I can't get over that.
Yeah. But for everybody else, thank you for jumping with me. We did actually go just past an hour, so we still rocking along. That's actually, I think we discussed that before. That's like the sweet spot, right? So we're still in the sweet spot, which is good. Happy gaming. Game the best way you can. If you have flaws in your games, try to report them so it makes it better for all of us. So even though it's in the podcast format where it's deep in the podcast, I just still wanted to report my issues with Bloodborne. But yeah, hopefully something like that gets better over time. However much time they need to do something. But because a lot of games have that type of issue. It seems like there's either issues with stability or the crashes is bad. But yeah, end of the episode. Let me just go ahead and get out of here. It's late. It's like midnight for us. I'm about to roll right in the bed right after this. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We will catch you next week. I know we got some scheduling stuff we got to talk about probably Saturday.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that Saturday. And then yeah, man, happy gaming, happy weekend. And I'll see all of y'all next week. Peace.
Yep.